Tonight on the Fret Factor, the municipal election is over. The votes have been counted, the ballots have been cast, and the results are in. On election night, we were down in Coquitlam at the council chambers there to document exactly what happened as those election results came in real time. We had the opportunity to speak to two people who were trying to become city councillors. We got their reaction to their own votes as the results came in there live. I think you'll find their insights quite interesting. Also, we decided to tag along with someone who's never actually voted in a municipal election before. His name is Cameron McKay, and this was the first time he's ever actually tried to vote for a mayor. He's pretty excited about the opportunity, and then he actually tried to go and cast his ballot. Needless to say, things did not go exactly as planned, and we were there to catch it all. So sit back and relax. You are about to enter the no-fact zone. Fret's Factor is set to begin right now. Thank you for joining us tonight, folks. It's as I said, this is the aftermath of the municipal elections as people all across British Columbia voted for their mayors and city councillors in whichever municipality they happen to reside in, and it was no different for myself, actually. I did cast a vote in the municipal election, which some people think is kind of unusual, but really not so much. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment with our talking points. But again, I just want to remind everyone you're going to have the opportunity tonight to meet some really interesting people, a couple of would-be city councillors, just regular people who wanted to sit on city council, and we have a unique perspective of being inside the city council chambers to see these results come in and get their immediate reaction. That is something you are not going to see anywhere else, only here on Something Cool News. And a bit later on, I'll introduce you to a young man who cast his first ballot in a municipal election, and he had a rather interesting experience when he tried to cast his vote. You'll have the opportunity to tag along in that special documentary we're going to be bringing up a bit later on. But first, I want to turn to our talking points here because, as I did state at the outset of this program, I did vote in a municipal election, and of course I encourage everyone to vote. It's one of the things I've become quite well known for, advocating for people to cast their ballots, to vote for the things they care about, because although some people don't believe this is true, it is the municipal elections that actually matter the most. These are the elections that have the most direct impact on your life. After all, it is city council and the mayor's office and such, the city engineering department, that takes out your trash, that makes sure your lights work, and makes sure all the buses are running smoothly so they can get all those other cars off the road so I can drive my way through unimpeded by poor drivers. So I was heading down to my election polling station, very excited to vote in the city of Coquitlam, whence I live, and upon getting there, I was greeted by some, I must say, very friendly people, very, very energetic, and seemed to be very helpful at all points. But of course, because I'm new to Coquitlam, I've only lived here for 6 or 7 months, maybe longer, I was not on a voters list, and as such, had to register to vote. Now, this was a bit of an inconvenience. I would think when someone with my charisma comes in, I should automatically be put on the list, but that evidently is not how things work. Instead, they asked me to produce some ID, identification, to see if I, in fact, was who I said I was. So I, of course, produced my driver's license. This is it right here, which, of course, has my name and age of 27 years on here. And then they wanted a secondary piece of identification, which, of course, I was more than eager to provide. In that case, I presented this, my birth certificate, as I always say, the mamma jamma of all ID. But they did not accept it. They said, in fact, that my identification, my birth certificate here, was not valid. And instead, if you can believe this, wanted this, my credit card. Now, if you don't think that is the most preposterous thing you've ever heard in your life, I think there is something wrong with you. And you probably have 4 or 5 of these stupid things. Yes, folks, this is a true story. They wanted my credit card instead of my birth certificate. Ridiculous. This is a document that proves you exist. Not valid in a municipal election. You need a credit card, which buys you stuff at stores that you cannot afford, otherwise you would use cash. Now, this is quite ridiculous to me, and I do not understand the logic behind it. Although I had someone sit down with me and try to explain the logic to me, and it goes something like this. They do not want you to use the birth certificate because the name on your birth certificate might be different than the name on your driver's license. And even though you need the birth certificate to get the driver's license and the passport, the more important document is the driver's license and the credit card, because your name is more likely to be the same on these two pieces of identification than on this piece of identification. But here's an interesting fact. The credit card does not have a registration number on it, whereas there is a registration number on this birth certificate, which you can look up in any database and say, oh yes, this registration number matches this person's name. Yes, they are in fact a person. Evidently, that is not acceptable to Elections Canada, and they have decided that I must produce a credit card. That's right, folks, your garden variety Zeller's card, Bay card, or that silly little one you get from the guy on the street who's hawking them to you for $20 because he stole them all and they're all forged, are somehow more acceptable than my birth certificate, which has my full name, my middle name, my birthplace, my registration date, my sex, lots, date issued, and of course at the very top, a registration number, which makes me a valid person. Nowhere do I find that. So, Talking Points believes this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And apparently, in this country, you do not have to be proven to be a real person to vote for a mayor and city council and a school trustee. You simply need to have a good credit rating. Unbelievable. Truly unreal. And that is this week's memo here. Very, very shocking development today at the polling station. But of course, as I was saying, it is election week here, and we are not going to simply let that get in the way of some great showing and great program. A lot of people think elections are boring, but not the case. Tonight we're going to be meeting up with some actual city councilors who have run in these municipal elections, presumably with their credit cards to register. And we will also be meeting a first-time voter who has decided to go out and vote in his first municipal election, and he had quite an interesting experience, as you're about to find out. But first, as I did state, it is election week, and we will now provide you with a live, even though this is a pre-recorded video, a live report from the Port Coquitlam City Hall, where things are just about to get underway in this exciting and historic municipal election.